This video is a quick introduction to the first project in this course, which is to make a series of 3 book covers. Basically what you're going to do, and you can read through this, I'm not going to read it word for word, but basically what you'll be doing is picking an author that has obviously more than one book that they have written. The book series does not have to be a series necessarily. It can just be an author that writes, different book titles. A lot of authors will have a similar genre, but these don't necessarily have to be a series. But in this case, with your design, it should feel like a cohesive series from one author. And you can see I'll kind of go through the examples on the right. So authors like Shakespeare, Jane Austen, Charles Dickens, Kurt Vonnegut. You could even do more modern authors, Elmore Leonard, Carl Hiaasen. I'm sure there's even more, if you have a favorite author or have always wanted to design book covers or interested in that. I think this is going to be a really fun project to work on. So you'll be designing the cover, spine, and back cover for each of the 3 books. We're not going to do wraparounds. So I decided that just because these courses are, very compressed, we've got packing in a lot in the 7 weeks, I went ahead and gave you a template. So you will be designing these in InDesign, and everybody's book covers will basically be the same size. So your covers should have the book title and the author. The back cover should have... and this is something you can find on Amazon. You can write your own if you would like, but a couple review quotes, a brief synopsis of what the book is about, which you can also find on Amazon or Goodreads, or even Audible, and then a barcode. So you'll want to find an appropriate barcode that is, typical for books. And then the spine will have the book title, the author's name, and then the publisher's logo. So the publisher's logo is something you also can find online pretty easily. And then your imagery, as you start taking more advanced courses in graphic design, you'll have a lot more freedom to create imagery that you want, that you feel would best represent your project. So you could use photography, you can use collage, you can use a combination of photography and illustration. You could have it be type dominant, you could have it be image dominant. I'm going to leave that up to you, but you will be in some cases either utilizing Photoshop or utilizing Illustrator, but ultimately the final book cover will be designed in InDesign, and that's where all of your text should be placed as well. So you'll see the template, and then what you'll turn in is, all 3 covers. You want to name it correctly, and then a 100 to 150 word statement discussing your project. This will run through the same type of review process like our other projects. So they'll start with sketches, have initial layouts, and progress critiques. But in these cases, I have some examples for you. These are student examples. This one's kind of a crappy example. It doesn't really get too much bigger than this, but basically you can see the imagery. All 3 of these books looks like they're a series. Consistent design, the barcode, the quote, the synopsis of the book. These are 2 covers that I found by Elmore Leonard. So you can see you don't necessarily have to use the same color palette, but the same look and feel should be consistent. Cormac McCarthy is another author that has written a lot of books. And, these are 3 that I found that are very similarly designed. This is another project from a former student, Tom Robbins. And you can see that she kind of did these really cool sort of monotone, duotone images, and where she has, it larger on the front, you can, bring in some of that on the back, the quotes, the barcodes, the synopsis, and then kind of colored the spines to go with the imagery. So I think, that's, here's another one, Carl Hiaasen. So you can see here, you can tell these are all the same author, same style, more than likely the same designer designing these book series. So the author is up to you. The book titles are up to you. You'll definitely want to, I would highly recommend, if you're not a reader, to go to the bookstore, look through the authors, or if you are a reader, for me, I really like Jane Austen's books. I enjoy Elmore Leonard's books. So just, think about the author and the 3, the titles that you want to cover, and then start, collecting imagery, and this will be part of the next part of the next review series too. But again, I wanted to keep this sort of brief, introducing this project. But I think, this should be a really fun project, and I hope you look forward to working on this. So email me if you have any questions after you look through the project statement.